All right, we are live again, and I am honored to have Tara Aldridge on the call with us, our Grow Yoga Biz Student of the Month. She is, I don't know, she's got the sweetest smile in the world. She's just such a pleasure when I
don't.
see her on calls. And I'm absolutely delighted that she's had the success that she's had over the last probably about a month coming into the
Yeah.
Yoga Mastermind coaching program. So without further ado, Tara Aldridge, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Well, I want to kind of dive into this like right away because what we're committing to is once a month we're going to highlight a student of the month and get a sense of why you wanted to join the Yoga Mastermind, what you're getting out of it, figuring out your niche, perfect client, launching your signature program, your obstacles, challenges, learning lessons, all that kind of good stuff. So let's start with the simple question. Why was now the right time to join a yoga marketing and business program?
Yeah. Well, so I've been teaching for 8 years and I've been just coasting along nicely. So I've been working for myself, teaching my own classes, having 2 babies in the mix, teaching while I was pregnant, teaching while I had little ones. And it was beautiful and it was great. But I don't know what happened come January this year. I just felt this yearning to do more. I just felt for the first time in 8 years this real I guess it is yearning and a readiness. And I was talking to my husband about it, and it was more than just a money thing. It was a real calling thing and a real purpose thing and a really big intuitive feeling. And I was just feeling it. And then a month later, so there was about 3-4 weeks of this, and I just accepted that the right opportunity would show itself, or I was just open, I guess, to possibility, when before I wasn't. I was just trying to survive and maintain my business while being a mum.
Yeah.
And then the webinar, it happened to reach me in a moment where my husband was working, both of my kids were asleep, and I had, shock horror, 15 minutes to myself in that moment. And then, they just continued sleeping and I got to watch the whole webinar and it just spoke to me. And I think money's always been in the background because, as most of you out there probably agree, being an abundant yoga teacher, I mean, it doesn't seem to fit hand in hand, really. And it felt like all the pieces come together, and I was like, now's the time. I feel motivated, and I had to borrow the money to do it. I didn't have any money to do it, and my dad actually, because I borrowed the money off him, and he said, tell me why you want to do it. Tell me, like, what is this about? And I said, well, it's an opportunity to make more money for my family, but most importantly, it feels like it's my time. It's my time to do more and to actually fulfill what I'm here to do in a bigger way.
Mm-hmm.
And then he agreed to it, and he said, I only said yes because of that. So that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that you had to borrow the money. And
Yeah.
let's address that real quick, because a lot of yoga teachers that speak with us, I tend to find that we get 3 people that when they watch our webinar, they'll book a breakthrough session with us. The first person is the person who really want everything for free. They want to book a call with us to talk about growing their yoga business so they can feel warm and fuzzy, like they're spending their time talking about it, but they don't really take action on anything. And that's not who we're trying to work with. Number 2, the second person is someone who goes from webinar to webinar and seminar to seminar and training to training, but they don't understand the value of really investing in themselves and the value of their time. And because of that, they often get lackluster results because they never go all in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the third person, which we feel like is the real people who understand that it takes hard work. It takes investing in yourself, your time, your resources, even having to go to family to get resources. But they also know that if they have a step-by-step strategy and someone in their corner, like a coach, to guide them through the process, then they're going to get results a lot faster than the slow, hard way of doing things by themselves.
Yeah,
Most
absolutely.
people, that's who we're looking for. People who are ready to go all in terms of their yoga teaching business. They feel like this is my calling, this is my time, this is exactly what I want to do. I want to change the lives of students all around the world with the message of yoga.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about on our webinar the importance of your niche, your perfect client. And our perfect client is ready to go all in. We're not trying to be every yoga teacher's marketing coach because a lot of yoga teachers are not ready to fully invest in themselves. A lot of yoga teachers are simply scared. And I get
Yeah.
it because they're looking around at 97% of the yoga teachers around them who are typically struggling to make a full-time income. And they're seeing that the only route typically is to teach group classes, to do the occasional retreat, to do the occasional workshop. And they're like, but there's got to be a better way. And to me, the current yoga culture, the yoga teacher culture, is not honoring the path of yoga. And the reason I say that is because from the beginning, yoga was about the student teacher relationship. But for some reason, the last 15, 20 years, made this focus on the mat. And it's not been off the mat as well. And it's this kind of group setting, and we're not honoring the student teacher relationship. And that's why we teach yoga teachers how to create a signature program to work with them in that more meaningful way. So let's take this back to you, Tara. But by the way, for those of you who are watching, it is freaking 4 a.m. Tara's time in Australia. So send a huge shout out and thank you to Tara for attending this call at 4 a.m. She's
I
such
was
a
up anyway. I was up anyway, feeding the baby. All good.
you're a sweetheart. So talk to us about, like, you started the program, and one of the first things we do when we help yoga teachers is to get clear about the vision for their life and for the yoga teaching for their not only their life but their yoga teaching business. How was that process for you, like getting clear about the vision for your life and your yoga teaching business?
Yeah, I loved the vision creator. I'd like to say that I'm somebody that has a clear vision in life, but I just got, I don't know, things got really murky for a while, and I think it's just becoming a mum and things like that. But
Yeah, having two
the
kids.
vision, and your vision changes, and I
Yes.
didn't realize how much my vision had changed since becoming a mother, and now, I guess the driving force behind everything and the vision is I want to have freedom. I want to have freedom to homeschool my kids and be with my kids and take them places and teach them as well that you don't have to go do the 9 to 5 job, or you don't have to be a starving artist. Like, it's like, you know, we have to choose, do we want to work for love and do something we love and not have much money, or we can sell our soul to the devil and do something we don't like. There's like, I want them to see that they can follow their passion and be abundant, and there's no guilt associated with that. Just to have that different sort of way of living. But also for me, just the vision is it's freedom. I don't know how else to put it. And
Yeah.
yeah,
No, at the end of, at the heart of everything that is wanting freedom. People might say, I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to have this house. I want to have this car.
yeah,
because they think it'll bring them happiness, but ultimately they think it'll bring them freedom, even if it's, looking outside of themselves to feel complete. I think at the heart of everything, we're looking for freedom.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the reason that this is so important in terms of yoga teachers getting clear about the vision for their life is for this thing. I'm so passionate. I was on vacation in Jamaica recently, and it became so like I had this aha moment. I've known for a long time that within the path of yoga, we're taught to go beyond the wants and desires because that's where true freedom lies. And I absolutely agree with that. What I find though is most people have not actually allowed themselves to honor the wants and desires. Because if we allow ourselves to say, you know what, this is the life I want to create, this is the yoga teaching business that I really envision, and I'm going to give myself permission to go after it, we let go of that resistance. Because a lot of times we have a very push-pull relationship with money or goals in life. And when we finally give ourselves permission to go after the life we really want to create, and we start to accomplish, we start to feel that abundance. From my perspective, it's so much easier to go beyond the desires when you're in a state of abundance versus the state of lack. And that life we want is like a carrot being dangled in front of our face.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
And it's the unfulfilled desires that I feel like are truly keeping people from experiencing true peace and freedom. Now, getting back to kind of and we're so redundant in terms of the niche and the perfect client and the signature program. We teach that in our webinar. We teach that on these live talks. Excuse me. And that's, again, what we're teaching inside of our course. But we have to, again, get clear about the vision for our life and then get clear about our passions. And that starts with the niche.
Yeah.
How was that process for you in terms of figuring out your niche?
I think figuring out my niche and the outline of my signature program was actually for me the easiest part.
Really?
I don't know if you're, yeah, I don't know. I think because I've been teaching for a while now, and I've sort of already figured out what I like and who I was connecting with. But remember on my first session with you, the breakthrough call with you, or the Decade in a Day call, and I said to you, oh, I've got my whole outline. I wrote it in 4 hours. Remember? And I was just like,
yeah, I do.
And when you sat there like, and it's so for me, like, I think I was so ready that I just got in flow state, and I just created this 7-week this 7-week outline really, really quickly. And I thought, oh, the whole course is going to be so easy. I just did this in like 4 hours. And then, so for me, the challenges have come in different ways in other areas. But that for me flowed really easily.
Well, the only time that I get when I, for instance, I'll talk to people and they will be like, yeah, I've already started thinking about my signature program. And I'm like, all right, pump the brakes. Because we first need to get very clear about your niche and about your perfect client, because your perfect client is what dictates it in your signature program. So if you don't figure out who your perfect client is first, you're putting the cart before the horse. And tell me, like, for your figuring out your perfect client, how was that process?
It was deeper than I expected, because at first I came up with one layer of my perfect client, and I sort of had that at the beginning. But as I've progressed in the journey, it's got deeper, and it's sort of revealing itself even more. And I can see now, when you say launch before you finished, like get week 1 and or get your outline and launch before. And I was the person that was sitting there going, oh no, I'm going to come up with it. I'm going to have it all filmed before I launch it, like in my head. And then I sort of dug myself into this hole of pressure, and I just like stressed myself out. And then I realized, as I started really honing in on my perfect client, how much my content actually started to change and started to morph to fit that. So it's exactly how you said. The more clear you get on your perfect client and really start to stop focusing on trying to help everybody, and 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 another thing is like who you were before all of this stuff is, something that you talk about, and that's really relevant, I think. And then I would just like to go on a complete tangent for a second, that I have found through, and I think there might be people out there that feel the same, like through this process and the challenges that we face while we're doing completely new things, while we're learning completely new things and stretching ourselves and busting through old beliefs. And, we have to become a certain version of ourselves to be able to experience the life and the success we
Yeah.
want, as you know. And what I have found is you kind of under the pressure and get this, and you feel this overwhelm, like when you're in the moments of stressing about this and that you can revert back to the old you. In a way, you have these snippets, like let's say you're someone who gets really anxious, and then you've come up with this beautiful program to support people, and then all of a sudden you find yourself anxious and stressed trying to create this program. And I've sort of seen it a little bit in the forum, and I felt it myself, that this message of practicing what we preach and really supporting ourselves and having your own personal practice throughout this process to anchor you and support you through the ups and the downs and the challenges is so important. Did that make sense?
Yeah. I want to go back to the perfect client. And because, first off, some people might be wondering what you're talking about in terms of just creating maybe 1 week of content and launching your signature program. So, what we teach is to create the outline of your signature program in about maybe 1 to 2 weeks of content and then launch it. The reason that we teach that, for those of you that are listening out there, is because if you're figuring out your niche for the first time and you're figuring out who your perfect client is for the first time, you're not going to know them 100%. You're still trying to figure out who this person is to some degree. And so by launching your signature program and bringing them in and starting to work with them, you get a clear understanding of what it is they need and what it is they want. And you create content for your signature program that's applicable in the moment, specifically designed for the clients you're working with, so that it's effective, versus trying to create all of your content ahead of time. Then you start working with people and maybe you want things a little bit different, or you decide to incorporate maybe 1 or 2 more healing strategies, and then you have to go back and re-record all your content.
Yes.
So I get it. It's scary when you're launching your program and all you have pretty much is an outline. But that is the most effective way to create a program, because again, trying to record it, create all of it ahead of time when you're still trying to figure out who your perfect client is, again, you'll end up creating more work for yourself because you'll have to go back and record the content.
And it gets so overwhelming that way as well when you think, oh, I've got to create all of this stuff now.
Yeah.
It's like step by step by step makes sense. And it definitely is true. It works 100% to do it that way.
Well, and it's a lot easier to be like, when it comes to coming from a place of creation, if you've enrolled a couple people into your signature program and you've got money in the bank, that's a much easier place, to create now, because you're not worried about money. You're not saying, oh, I've got to create this 8-week or 12-week or 16-week program. And then in the back of your mind, like, hey, I need to get clients. Well, if you already have clients and then you're creating the content and you're working with them, you're reading what's going on for them, and you're creating content that's really applicable up into the moment, that's just the most successful way.
And
so
it motivates you as well. Like it motivates you and it makes you more positive about it all.
Well, a lot of people will, if they do have the courage to create a coaching program, and I can speak from experience on this, won't launch it. They'll sit there. Yeah. I created in 2012, I created a law of attraction coaching program and forum. Spent 6 months putting it together. It's no longer up, but the website was attractingchange.com. And I spent 6 months putting it together and I was ready to launch it. And I'm like, wait, who am I to be someone's coach? I screw up all the time. I've got so many different things going on in my life. Like, how can I be someone's coach? And it wasn't until 2 years later that I saw the quote from Pema Chodron that said, if you're waiting for the perfect time to teach, it will never come.
Yes.
And I was
Yeah.
waiting for the perfect time.
Yeah, waiting for this readiness that, yeah,
Well,
doesn't come.
well, and that kind of goes back to like waiting for the perfect time for anything. There's never a perfect time to get married. There's never a perfect time to have a kid. There's never a perfect time to grow your yoga business. People will like wait for like the planets to align. And it's like, listen, you're always going to have something going on in your life.
Yeah.
Why stall your own personal growth and growing your yoga business and changing lives? Stall that. Why?
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I talked to a woman last night, and she's from Australia as well. She just graduated from her teacher training in January, and she was like, "Well, I can't charge 3,000 to 8,000 plus for a signature program." She's like, "I don't have enough experience." I said, "If you've gone through your RYT 200 training and you just teach someone to develop a 30-minute asana practice per day or a 30-minute meditation practice per day, and that's all your signature program is designed to do, is to help them create a daily routine of either doing asanas and or doing meditation.
Yeah.
That's enough to change someone's life. And you could charge $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for your signature program. And again, it's worth it because you're teaching someone how to sustainably discover the truth of who they are and heal themselves through asanas and through meditation. So all this experience that we think we need, there's never going to be a time when someone's going to say, hey, Tara, you're ready. I think you're ready now to do this. No one's going to crown us. No one's going to crown us and give us that moment where, hey, you're ready. No, crown yourself.
Yeah.
Give yourself permission to about your life that you want. But I'm kind of sidetracking it. Let's get back to the program. And you had mentioned that there's been, challenges, mindset issues. Can you talk to us about some of those things, some of the biggest challenges that have come up for you?
Yeah, I think mainly for me, it's just the pressure that I put on myself and the mindset that I had around time. And I think feeling like, right, I've got X amount of time and I've got all of these things that I have to do. And I guess looking at it big picture, it can get overwhelming. And I was stressing myself out and I was running myself into the ground, trying to do it as quickly as I could and have it all ready, like trying to film too many things and too many weeks ahead and all the things, until I got to this place where I thought, I just showed myself a little bit of compassion that I'm learning new things, and that brought myself back into this present moment and thought, this is a step-by-step guide. I just have to do step by step. That's it. I just have to follow and do one thing at a time. And everything that I do, one thing that I can tick off, that's a win. And sort of celebrating that little win and feeling like I'm accomplishing and stepping forward. And as soon as I did that, all of a sudden I was like really moving ahead and getting things done. So I think we can look at the whole thing and just get like overwhelmed, but it is designed step by step. So we need to treat it that way. We need to just take one thing at a time and it's achievable that way.
Well, a lot of people, if they do get clear about their vision, it's a big vision. And let's just kind of say that they create this huge vision. And then they look at them and like, wait, how do I do that? But the whole point of this is to just take one step time. And that's why I love that quote, that courage is fear walking. It's simply putting one step in front of the next.
Yeah.
We had a group coaching call earlier today, and some people were expressing how they had been going through the program step by step, and they were not getting the results that they wanted. And I said to them, I basically pointed back to their mindset. I was like, you're going through this course and you're doing the work, no doubt. But are you doing the mindset work? And I'm not here, I say it all the time, I'm not here to be a law of attraction coach. But there's two different types of situations. Number one, you're going through a program and you're creating these things and you're going step by step. But in the back of your mind, you're like, I don't know if this is going to really work.
Yeah.
And then you have another person who is going through the program step by step, and they're connecting with their vision. They're looking at their goals. They're doing the visualizations, and then stuff is happening. And so it's so easy because we have people that come to us that are students. They want to work with us. Like, how in the world am I going to charge $3,000 to $8,000 plus for a signature program? And I started to point back to, well, that's what the yoga teacher industry has been doing for decades. You pay $2,500, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. If you go to India for 30 days, your stay in your food, to go through your teacher training. So the yoga community has already had a signature program for many, many years. And in fact, and I hope everybody's paying attention to this, the only choice that most people have to learn more about the path of yoga, because you're capped really at the group yoga, it's the group classes, the occasional workshop. But if you really want to dive deep into the path of yoga, the only choice is to take a teacher training. And at least half of those people don't even want to become a yoga teacher. Well, what about the people who want to heal, so to speak? Because a lot of people enter teacher training because they want to heal themselves. What about the person who wants to heal from fibromyalgia? Take your niche, Tara. What about the corporate professional women who want to recover from burnout? And what's their choice? Go through hours and hours and hours and hours of group yoga classes, or go through teacher training? No, why don't they have a program that's specifically designed for what they're going through? So that's what we're teaching. You have a passion. You're drawn to certain people. Well, create a signature program specifically for them and give them that option to help them change their lives versus the only other option they have is to go through a teacher training.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
The yoga community has also had as a signature program, say, the yoga therapy certification. People pay $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 to get their yoga therapy certification. Teachers are more than willing to spend tens of thousands of dollars on their education, yet they will not often invest in marketing to learn strategies to reach the people who need their wisdom in order to heal. And it's like, a lot of teachers think that they're going to go through this next training and this next training, and it's going to help them just really grow as a teacher and grow their following. Not really. If you don't know how to grow your following, you're not going to learn that in the yoga therapy certification. You're not going to learn that in your 500 hour or your 200 hour. I'm getting a little off the tangent there. But I want to say, I want to bring this back to you. Like, tell me what has been some of the biggest learning lessons for you diving into a program like this, learning how to market your transformational signature program. What has been kind of the biggest eye-opening aha moments and learning lessons for you?
I think that the mindset shift of realizing that I think I said mind shit. I think that just came out. Hey, it's 4:30 in the morning.
I know. No, we gotta have some comic relief on these things. Keep everybody on the
So I guess, yeah, realizing that there's so many people out there that are looking. There's so many people out there that are needing and are ready and are wanting what we have to offer, and I guess I've just releasing the guilt associated with it, releasing all my blocks and stuff. Like what has it's it's been huge for me, this process, in the way that it's grown me as a person is more than I expected, because in order to sort of be that person, you've got to shed a lot, you've got to grow a lot, and it's every little challenge and every little step you go through in this course allows you to learn more about yourself. So I guess I thought that I sort of had my mindset sorted, and then going through this course, realizing, wow, I've been limiting myself in so many ways, not just in this, but in so many different ways. So it's been a real personal growth for me also.
Mm.
Yeah, it's been amazing. And I think we can get caught up, I'm struggling with this, or I'm finding this challenging, but that's all part of it, isn't it? Because it's like, I've said it to you before in another call, like I felt like a butterfly or a chrysalis, like in this cocoon. It's like you're trying to emerge from it, and you've got to struggle, and you've got to do things you haven't done before, and you've got to learn new things and put yourself to the test and put yourself out there. So I guess, yeah, this whole coaching program has been such a big learning curve and personal growth for me.
You've heard me say this a lot lately to the group, is that the growth of your yoga teaching business is almost always tied to your own personal growth.
Yeah.
To quote Albert Einstein, we cannot solve a problem from the same level of consciousness that created it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the hard for most people, is they want to follow like a step-by-step plan. They want to learn what do I post on social media and how do I create a webinar, but they don't want to do the inner work. And that's where it all begins. Because if you do all the marketing strategies, but we don't grow as a person, then whatever success we have is not going to be sustainable. Because we have to grow as a person in order to grow our yoga teaching business.
Yes.
And a lot of people think that when they come into a yoga marketing or business program, like, oh, okay, I'm going to learn marketing strategies. Well, you're going to learn a hell of a lot more than that, because you're going to typically do some things that scare the shit out of you in order to grow your yoga teaching business. And that, again, that makes sense. Unless you grow as a person, your yoga teaching business isn't going to grow. And that when you do the things that scare you and you begin to experience success doing those things that scare you, it has a way of building your confidence in so many different ways beyond just your yoga teaching business. When you do the things that scare you and you experience success. It's all right. I've seen you come into this program. You have been the sweetest person in the world. Like, your smile.
I said mind shit on live Facebook.
Yeah, let's talk about mind shit. And but you went through the challenges. You launched your signature program. You brought 4 students into your course that are now starting right now. You're building your signature program. You're building your webinar to get to that next phase where you have that webinar out there, leveraging your voice and leveraging your business. And it's been a joy to watch you. It really has. It's been a joy to watch you.
Thank you. It's been amazing. I've loved it. And yeah, you're going to have challenges. We can't expect it to be easy, but it's all worth it. You just, like, I've decided that I'm doing it, and however long it takes me and whatever challenges come up, I'm doing it. So I think once you make that decision, then the challenges don't seem so big because you're not looking for reasons why to give up. You're not
Right.
looking for reasons to, which I've done forever before. So, yeah.
I was reading something. Hold on a second. I was talking about when things get tough, it's very easy to quit.
Yeah, or
And
to
that's what
see it as
most
a
people do.
sign.
That is
Yeah,
what most people do.
it's
And
what
I
I've
get it
done.
because I've been there myself. I've
Mm.
quit so many times in life, I don't even know. I can't even count anymore. But I
Yeah.
knew that this opportunity was going to be different. And just for the same thing of our students, if you're going to have a yoga business that you've never had, you're going to have to do things that you've never done. And for me, I was always a runner and a quitter. And so I knew that this time, if it was going to be different, I couldn't quit. And let me ask you this, and before I let you go, has there been anything that you feel like you've come up against? Like, were there times when you wanted to quit and you just had to keep going?
I wouldn't say that there's been times that I wanted to quit because I'd made the decision at the start that I'm doing it. But the challenge
Right.
of like completely burning myself out to the point where like really truly burning myself out, where I actually couldn't. I had to take like 3 days off of
Yeah.
doing nothing just to reset. And I was in that moment. I thought, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't think I can do this. I can't sustain this. I'm never going to finish. That feeling. But again, it comes down to mindset because as soon as I changed the way that I approached it, as soon as I changed the way that I was feeling about it and managing my time and celebrating the little wins and looking at one day at a time, one step at a time, everything changed. So I would say that was a big turning point for me. And that was around week 4 or module 4, right when all that stuff, you
Yeah.
get down to the nitty gritty, right? So it's normal, like for all those people that are feeling that way, like I think it's kind of part of it, but then you've got to decide I'm doing this. So I've got to make sure I take care of myself and do not overwhelm myself and just not fall into that trap of looking for reasons why I'm going to fail.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that a lot of people, like you said, put pressure on themselves. Our program is 16 weeks. And once you make that investment, you start to think to yourself, well, just like with meditating, I should be meditating. I should be doing my asanas. I should be spending time inside the training. I should be attending the support calls.
Oh.
In that shoulding on ourselves, we don't feel like we have freedom around that decision. It's kind of like when our parents say, you need to do this, you have to do this. We almost want to rebel a little bit, or we just don't feel freedom around that because we don't feel like we have a choice.
Yeah, exactly.
And often we have to take a step back and work on our mindset if we're going to progress this even further. And again, I think that's probably been your greatest success story is your willingness to look at yourself and your mindset and then continue to go back into training.
Yes, that's everything. That's the biggest advice that I could give. 100%. That's what I've taken from your stuff the most, from everything that you say. That's what I've taken the most is when you talk about the mindset stuff. 100%, because it's all about it.
That's why we also have mindset coaches on our program too, because we want to honor the fact, and we have some of the best coaches on planet Earth. I mean, our mindset coaches, it's a niche by itself to be a mindset coach, but these women's niches are helping women entrepreneurs launch their businesses. So they understand the vulnerability, the fear that comes up, and helping guide people through that. And it's completely natural. When you put all that time and effort into creating something and now you're going to share with the world, it's like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Like,
so
a
hard.
lot comes up for people, and it's totally natural. It's completely natural. But if we're
Yeah.
going to get to the next level in our life and our yoga teaching business, we have to be willing to put ourselves out there. And to
Yeah.
me, that's what being a teacher is about, is having that vulnerability, having that courage to speak your truth, to share your story, and having faith that the right students are going to show up when you do that.
Yeah. 100%.
Tara, thank you so much. I want to let you go because it's like freaking 4:40 in the morning your time, and you're already a mom who has to take care of 2 kids on top of everything else.
And my baby's turning 1 today. My
Aww,
youngest, so I'm going to wake up and it's like she's going to wake up. It's her birthday
what's
today.
her name?
Sky. So
Sky.
yeah, today's her big day. Anyway.
Aww. Well, congratulations as a mom, celebrating your
Thank you.
child's first
And
birthday.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank
for all
you
the
again
help
so
and
much for
support.
attending this and being a part of it and being willing to share your story. I do hope that people watch this and feel compelled to, whether they decide to join our program or join another scholar coaching program. Everyone in life needs a mentor. Everybody needs a coach. I always have a coach because I want somebody pushing me to do the things in life that will help me grow as an individual. So, Tara, you have some very, very lucky women that get to work with you and discover the truth of who they are. Thank you again for just being you, and thanks again for joining us today.